Lewis is a fearless trial and error gardener, showing us all that the mandem can grow fruit trees to Jamaican ackee to wild garlic. Lewis discovered his love of gardening when lockdown hit the UK and never looked back. So I'm excited to hear his journey and nosy around his garden at what he is currently growing. So Lewis, how did you actually get into gardening?
So when I started growing, it must have been around 2019, and basically my granddad, he used to grow a lot. So my granddad's Jamaican, he grew up in the country. So you know, them people there, they just grow all over the place. And basically, I was kind of inspired by him, and I was like, let me try a thing. And I bought a cherry tree from Lidl for like maybe like £9 or something, carried it here, and then I killed it the same year. So that's how I started. And then after that, I kind of like tried to improve from that. So yeah, that's my real proper start with growing. My mum's started growing beforehand, and she's growing things in the garden. Like we had courgettes, sunflowers. We had sunflowers over here. Like when I was a kid, we had courgettes, tomatoes. But yeah, 2019 was like the proper year where I was like, I'm going to grow something. Here, we have bay leaf. This is my mum's bay leaf, so I can't take credit for this. So she's kept it in a pot, and then she put it in this larger pot because it was going crazy. And yeah, I use this all the time in my cooking. It's a nice vibe, adds a nice flavor. You can dry it as well. So you see when you get the bay leaf from the stores, like obviously it's dry already, but you can literally pick it fresh, dry it in like an oven. Do you know what I'm saying? That kind of vibe. So I use that a lot for that. These plants here, I think one of these is mint, but I'm not really sure which one. But this one, pick it up actually. This here, this is, no one really knows about this. So I'm plant-based, so I don't really eat anything with like meat and stuff in it. But this is called tune leaf, right? And this, at least to my uncle, he told me this tastes like beef stock. So I cook this in with my food to give it like a nice depth or an umami flavor.
That's
the
nice.
leaves flush out that red, and then they continue growing. And then in the winter, it just drops its leaves and then it goes to sleep. We got some rosemary here. This is my mum's rosemary. Basically, my mum uses this, we use it in cooking of course, but she uses it a lot for hair. She uses it a lot for like, she boils it down with water and then she sprays it. And she's like, Lewis, you need to use the rosemary water. So that's what the rosemary is. And then we have some these are wild strawberries. But we put them in a pot, and now they used to produce fruits like this size, tiny, like this size. And now they produce really large ones, which are quite sweet.
So how did that happen though? You said that, so did they just grow by themselves?
Yeah, so basically in that area there, it's really annoying over time because it's kind of like, it kind of works in two different ways. It keeps so we have a lot of wild strawberries that grow up and it keeps the soil really nice and moist, but at the same time, it strangles everything. So I have to clear some of it up. So one day we just put it in a pot and then it gave us this. And yeah, it just grows out everywhere. So this one is the same as this one. It's grown out into this.
Wow.
And it just kind
So
of grow
the
out.
seed just spread?
No, it's the roots. The roots just spread. So it spreads that way. It's very invasive. So you want to keep it in a pot if you do a wild one. If not, you're going to have a bad time. It's going to take over your whole entire garden. My great-granddad and my granddad used to grow like crazy. So my great-granddad, I'll talk about my great-granddad first. So my great-granddad, he lived in Bermondsey, right? I don't know if you know Abbey Street.
Yeah.
Abbey Street, it was his home, and then there was 2 vacant homes at the time where no one was living in it. There's like a word for it, I don't remember the word. And then there was someone else who lived like maybe 3 doors down. And they basically, both of the people, my great-granddad and the guy who was his neighbor, they tore down all the fences and they just made it a farm. They had chickens, goats, God knows what they had.
Goats?
Yeah, all of that. I don't know what they had, but whenever I talk about it with my aunt always tells me, yeah, Lewis, it was like I was in Jamaica. Like I had everything. And then I come up this way and I come around this way. So we have some figs. Now figs, yeah, I don't know much about figs. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know.
Okay.
Some guys sent me these figs from Instagram. Big up Pet Grows, quick plug. Basically, he sent me these because he saw what I was growing. And he was like, I think you could do well with these. And he said, this one's a really good one that he took from Italy. And it did actually fruit for me last year, but I didn't know when to pick it, so I picked it too early.
Yeah.
I don't know how figs, I've never had a fig until last year. I didn't have a fig. And then this one, I don't know the variety of this name. And then we have a plum tree that I planted last year or earlier this year, one of the two. This is called something's tangerine, Burbank's tangerine, I think. Yeah, Burbank's tangerine. So I love plums. I love stone fruit. And the guy who actually told me about this, he was the same guy who sent me the figs. He was like, you need to get the Burbank's tangerine. It tastes like peach, but we can grow peaches in this country, but they suffer with a disease called leaf curl. Peach leaf curl, that's it. And that kind of like stunts like the plant in general. So I'm not trying to grow that. So I'm growing this. I'm gonna see how it is. And then I actually took a clipping from my granddad's tree and I grafted a different plum, I'm not sure the name of it, onto this tree just to save the genetics.
Oh wow! Wait. How's that gonna? Is that gonna now produce another plum?
If it's successful, this will produce a different kind of plum to this one. So this will be one kind of plum. This will be another. And then I want to have a plum tree in a pot, so I can put this onto that one, and then I can have a separate one. I just wanted to keep the one that my granddad had. It's not a special one, but it's special to me. And then we have aronia berry. I got this from Lidl. I got a lot of things from Lidl. I got this from Lidl for like £2, and it was like a little stick, probably like the size of this to this.
Wow.
And over time, it's just kind of grown out. And the berries are very astringent, but apparently it's really, really good for you. Very high in antioxidants. So I was like, let me grow it. When my friend's mum had cancer, I gave her a bunch because apparently it has some properties in there, which is good for that. And yeah, there's just a whole load of things in the berries that it produces, and they're actually related to apples. Funny that like when you take the berries off, they look like tiny little apples. It's crazy.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah, I know the one that you're speaking
they're like
about.
This small. It's crazy.
Yeah. I've like passed that before.
Yeah, you probably have.
So online as well, why did you decide to kind of like document your journey?
So it was just for me, I'm not gonna lie. The page used to be private. It used to be private. So if you scroll down, you can see me in my pajamas. You can see me like, listen, with my hair all out, all messy. It was just kind of like, I don't know, it was just like for me and my friends. I just wanted to show my friends. And then my friends were like, oh, don't make it private. And I'd make unprivate or whatever you call it, make it public. Make it public. And then I'd be like, nah, man, people can see me in my pajamas, man. So I make it private again. And then I decided, let me just make it public. And then I had a couple people hit me up and they were like, yo, I like this, And then it kind of just went from there, really and truthfully. Then we got garlic chive. I love garlic chive, oh my days. So garlic chive, right? Garlic chive, I tried it years ago and I could never grow it. I'd put the seeds down. Remember, it would grow out and then the snails would eat it off. So I actually bought this from a store, like a small little plug plant of garlic chive last year. And then it grew out quite a bit. And I didn't really, I used to chop it up and saute it with things, but it wasn't until I was with my grandma, we made red pea soup and she put this in it. She was like, let's try the garlic chive, we got plenty of it. And it just, it elevated it on such a mad level. And ever since then, whenever I make soup now, I have to put that in it.
It makes sense. So I guess now you know that it's a soaking kind of, you soak it's not, what would you call it, a herb?
It is I'd say it's a herb.
Yeah, because it's a bit leafy.
Yeah,
and man. Usually herbs, they kind of, when I think of herbs, I think of like thyme, rosemary.
No, that's exactly how I think about it as well.
But this here, sounds good.
Yeah, man, it's really good.
You might have to give me some.
No, I got you.
How important is it for other young black males as well?
I feel like it's super important because it's really good for your mental health, 100%. It's really good. I know there's been days where I've been frustrated and, for me, when I was a kid, if I was to know about, just going outside and planting something in the dirt, I would have done it, but I just didn't really know it. And I feel like if a lot more young black males knew about that, I feel like it would be amazing because, you can get out and go to I know there's not a lot of youth clubs around, but there's a lot of community gardens and, just really try and get stuck in. We haven't got much in this country and I feel like, those resources, we could definitely use it if they are there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I wish I would have done that when I was younger. So, yeah, man. And And then before I go to the trees, do you guys know about wild garlic?
Yeah.
We have wild garlic. I'm a bit OCD, so I don't want to go get wild garlic from outside because I think foxes are feeding them. So I got them in the pot. So I got some popping up. This is the first year. I planted these last year because I love wild garlic. And yeah, these are growing out this year. So I'm hoping next year I get even more. We got some more pushing up as well.
So how did you start them? Did you like get seeds?
Some person has they grow them on their property. So they just dug some up and just sent some. So you can order them online as well, eBay, everything, anywhere basically online. And then these are just some sweet peppers, which I've just left outside in the pot. They're the long ones. I ate a long one and it was really good, so I was like, let me plant the seeds. And then in here, this is before I get to this actually, here we have, this is a blood orange tree. So blood orange is very nice. I love blood orange. I love fruit in general. I eat a lot of fruit. And so the best thing for me to do in my mind was let me plant them and see how it goes. So this is blood orange and no fruit on it this year. This is like a second year plant, second year. Hasn't grown that much, this one. But it's starting to leaf out. So if you see here, it's starting to leaf out and everything. And even some of these are flower buds, so it'll be flowering soon. So hopefully I get some fruit. But yeah, that's the blood orange. And I got these bulbs around it as well because it's very young. What you want to do when these plants are very young is you want to frost cloth them like this over the winter. Or you want to put bulbs on them just to bring the temperature up when it gets below freezing. They can take below freezing, but it's like when you get -6, -5 degrees, that's a lot. So you want to raise the temperature up a bit when it's very young and when the bark is very thin like this. Once they're thicker like that, they can take it. So yeah, that's the blood orange.
And that kind of sense of giving and, you know, like, if there was like more kind of people, I guess we could kind of like build like this ecosystem.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. If everyone even if you have it on like if you have a small patio, if you have a balcony, you know, if you grow a little something and everyone had spares, because you're going to have spares. Like it's inevitable. You can't eat all of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Just being able to give it out and, you know, just give things away to people. I feel like it's a blessing. I love the idea of giving things away anyway. But the fact that people can use it in their meals or whatever, I feel like that's also an amazing thing to think about. That's the lemongrass. And then this one here, this is my baby. My baby. So I got this, when did I get this? 2020 from Lidl. I got this from 2020 in Lidl. And I got it for like, how much was it? Like £15. Plants now are mad expensive. But then I got it for £15. And I remember at the time I was growing an orange tree, that orange tree there, and I have my grapefruit tree, which is there, which is a lot smaller. And it was inside here, because the lady was like, keep it under grow lights, kept it under grow lights, didn't like it. She said, oh, put it in your porch, put it in the porch, she didn't like it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm leaving it outside, I can't be bothered. And it worked. So I left it outside for the first few years. They got a bit of frost damage because it was still young. When the plants are younger, they're more sensitive to that kind of stuff, but it doesn't kill it, it just burns a couple of leaves like here and there. And yeah, basically planted it in the ground in 2022. And this year, this past year it's grown this much. It was probably down here and then it's just grown up to here.
Wow.
And I think this year it's going to be like, God knows how big. But this one's the one that I gave lemons to my friend. And yeah, it's even growing right now. So there's bare growth coming all over the place. This is from last year's growth that was grown during the winter. We got some more growth here.
Compared to like going into the supermarket and buying the product, would you say that you notice any difference as well within?
Yes. So the other day, right, I picked my first orange off that tree there, and I done a video of it on Instagram, and it was the juiciest orange I've ever had in my life. It was like crazy. People were popping up to me on my Instagram, on my growing one and my personal one, saying that looks fake. It looks fake, and I was like, bro, different. Still, it's different. So yeah, there's definitely a difference, and I feel like probably because it's not sitting on the shelf, you know, all that stuff that normally happens. There's no wax, there's no pesticides, and yeah. So I feel like there's definitely a difference. There's some things where it's kind of like on par, but even like when I remember me and my little brother. My brother was young then, it was during lockdown. We had like, you know those little grow bags? And we had a whole load of red potatoes we just put in there. And we harvested it and it was like the best red potatoes I've ever had in my life. They were so crispy, they tasted fresh and nothing has beaten that. So yeah, I actually do think that, yeah, there's a big difference, 100% actually. All right, so basically next, this is probably, how many things have I planted at this point? 1, 2, this is the 4th thing that I planted. This was a clementine tree. It did not grow at all for the longest time. And then I put it in the ground and now this is all what came from last year. It's crazy. And it does give you clementines.
Nice.
So yeah, I got a clementine off of it, but we had a mad freeze, the maddest freeze, December 22, as I was saying beforehand, and the part of it was frozen inside of it. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it was sweet, but that part I had to cut away. So yeah, clementines. When it gets bigger as well, the canopy will protect it from all that cold weather, but at the time it was very small. And then last year it grew all of this.
Wow.
So yeah, man.
The leaves look very different as well.
It
like,
does.
These leaves
So
look
these
different to
leaves
these
are big.
ones.
Yeah, I've deeped this as well. And at first I was thinking, is that rootstock? Because all these are grafted, right? And basically what that means is that, you know what I've done with the plum tree? It's the same thing, but you can also get rootstock growth, which takes over the tree. But
What's rootstock growth?
so underneath here, I'll show you. So underneath here,
yeah.
this is a different plant to this one.
Okay.
So this will be like, God knows what it is, like some kind of like lemon, for example, that can take the cold. And this will be like a clementine. I mean, this is a clementine, so that will be the clementine. And basically, sometimes you can get growth coming from here. If you do, you want to pick it up. But that's what I was thinking this is.
Yeah.
And then I realized this is because it's water sprouts. When you get a lot of water, sometimes these go kind of crazy. And we did get a lot of rain last year, so that's what I'm thinking it was. So these leaves are slightly different, and they're not as sturdy, but they'll toughen up, and then they will produce fruit. So yeah, man. I feel like with me when I was a kid, if I was to think about me doing this when I was a kid, there was no one I could really look up to doing this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the idea of growing food was like a old people thing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you're old, you're a granddad, or it's boring, or da 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 da. Do you know what I'm saying? But I know for me, at this age, I'm how old am I? I'm 26. That's mad. I'm 26. I'm 27 this year, right? And there's people who I follow on Instagram who I look up to, who are black and doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine what it would be like to the younger generation who look up and see people, you know, our age doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, having a role model is a big thing in general. I feel like with me, I work in music and I've had a lot of role models with that, but I never really had role models with this. So I feel like if more of us got involved, that would be amazing.
So even like how you just spoke about music there's quite a lot of us in that space.
Yeah, man.
And
There
that kind
definitely
of,
is.
so I guess music is creative. And is there a link between like, you know, that creativity and gardening?
I think there is, you know. I actually think there is. So my family are very creative. Like from my granddad, my great-granddad used to play guitar. My cousin, she sings. So my mom, she makes cakes. And she's really good with drawing and everything. And she loves getting stuck in the garden. And I feel like it's just another way to express yourself at the same time. So even if you take away the mental health, I mean, it does kind of still tie in with mental health, but even like growing the food, taking away that, I feel like it's just a way to express yourself creatively. You know, you can try different things out. You can put different things in different places, you know, plant things with different things. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's just another way of an outlet in the end of the day. Creativity.
Yeah, you're saying it right.
Creativity.
Creativity, yeah, you're saying it.
Yeah,
You said it right the first time.
man. That way. That one there. So this is my little Aki. My Aki.
Oh, this one looks good over here.
Yeah, man. Some of them got sun damage the other day. Again, I wasn't here, but these ones you can see, and they're fine. They're all good. I'll put this over here. And I'll show you an example of sun damage, man. It's mad because you don't think they will get sun damage because they're tropical plants, right? But it's just about...
It makes sense now. That's why, you know, in Jamaica, they're always like...
Yeah, once they're bigger,
positioned in certain...
man.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Once they're bigger, yeah, they're all good. But you can see these leaves are getting burnt. But these ones here are fine. And then they'll just grow out a bit. That's what happened a few years ago when I tried them. I did flop that year, but I learned a lot from that year. But this is...
Ooh, that one looks like it's thriving.
This one...
Here. This
Yeah, yeah, these ones were
The bottom
fine.
ones.
But this is like a clear example of, you see how it's white here?
Mm-hmm.
The sun kind of like bleaches the color of the leaf. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've been trying to keep it shaded here underneath this tree. It was going well until the other day, which is why I've now put this here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. That should grow when it warms up a bit more. Yeah, and then I have, this is a banana plant. This one won't produce edible fruit. But there are some kinds which do, and which are more cold tolerant. I know a guy who actually grew bananas in this country, wild, like little burro bananas.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Polytunnel.
He had it in his greenhouse, but I know another guy who protects his with hay, which is why there's so much hay here. But it was just the wrong year for me to put them out the first year. But this one's from my granddad's garden, and it's put up for sucker, and it's probably going to push out another sucker. I don't know where the sucker is now though. But I use this as chop and drop. So they look nice. It reminds me of my granddad, and I cut the leaves off to dash down on the soil so it breaks up, because it breaks up very, very quickly, and it puts nutrients into the soil. A lot of potassium, which is good for fruit and flowering. So I just dash it down there.
Yeah, I guess where would you suggest someone that is like a beginner to start?
With growing things, I'd say maybe even just start doing like chives, onions, looking on YouTube. There's a lot of things on YouTube. YouTube has everything. And the way it explains it to you and it shows you things is so much different to like going to like, I don't know, certain specialists or online on certain places where it's overcomplicated. Because a lot of the time it's really simple. And especially on Instagram, I've seen quite a few people who've been posting about, I just kind of try this out. If it doesn't work this year, it don't work, I'll just switch it up. And they've had a lot of success. So I feel like Instagram, YouTube, just getting out there and putting something in a pot or whatever, I feel like that's the best way of really starting for anyone who's a beginner.
Thank you for watching. At the end of this video series, we'll follow a 10-episode podcast show. So stay tuned for some more amazing nature and holistic game changers. Like, share, comment, and hit the bell for the latest notifications.